Welcome to Whachacha's Tabletop World, the channel devoted to the love of board gaming. My name is Sweetness Whachacha, and these are my thoughts on In the Footsteps of Marie Curie. Okay, so what do I think of this game? Well, let's talk. This is going to be kind of like half of it is going to be about the idea and the concept of the game, and the other half is going to be about the mechanisms. So firstly, I absolutely am over the moon about the idea of games that teach. Okay, first of all, I love themes that, I learn about something that I don't know about, like we just did this Cat Island one here on the channel. We do, like learning about I always bring up like Sky Team about like, oh, I didn't know that there was this dangerous approach and only a couple pilots in the world can go there. Like I love learning these little things that are just quick one and dones, right? Like, oh, interesting factoid that you can enrich your life with or whatever. But this game is like truly like you want to know about her, you're going to learn about her. And before we did our little playthrough on the channel, which you can watch, I thought to myself, like, hey, maybe I should read up a little bit on her so I know a little more, because I only knew the basics. But then when I realized, hey, that's the point of the game, is to teach you, that's unbelievable. This is something where, like a classroom or something, you can like learn about her, and by the end of the game, you're like, oh, I know all about her and her work and her husband's work and everything. Very, very, very fascinating. There's another game, In the Footsteps of Darwin, so you can learn about him as well. I think that's fantastic. Now, the board itself, you go along this timeline, and it comes with a whole book, which is the appendix. And every time you go to one of these, you can read about her. You can see what happens in 1894, the meeting here, the winning the Nobel Prize in 1911, etc. So you can read up on all that information, which is really fascinating. Now, these are not always linked to thematically like this. There was a big surge in demand for radium, and so you remove the cubes from there. Okay, that's thematic. They're not all thematic like that. So, but it's really kind of cool to look through there. Also, in addition to that, like just looking at the artwork and stuff, like this is a gorgeous board. You have your personal goals here, these theses that you can write and put out. There's a space for everything. This shows you how to play, etc. So the art is all very, very lovely on the whole thing, like these beakers, and again, it will tell you, like there's quotes and things throughout explaining to you, how we get the term beaker, Erlenmeyer flask. It just gives you all this information. So just what a lovely production. And then this, the tower here is supposed to show you the scarcity of pitch blend and how that we're not always able to get exactly what they needed. So that's kind of bringing that to life, and it's really a cool thing, to see and look at. And who doesn't love a little dice tower like that? Very, very cool. So yeah, as a whole package, very, very thematic, of course, very educational. I mean, I wish there were games about everything. Like I'm like, hey, I want to learn about this. Get yourself a game and learn. And that's very, very cool. So thematically, historically, just all that, I'm all in. 10, love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm really keen on getting the Darwin one as well. I know much more about him. However, I'm sure I don't know very much at all when it's all said and done. So that's very, very cool. So that's the theme and the concept of the game. Absolutely love it. And for a classroom, I mean, getting kids to play a game and to learn, I'm not sure what kind of age group is going to really benefit from this. However, if you're lucky enough to be in that kind of situation, if you're a homeschooler or if you have like a small classroom or if you have some kind of after school kind of club or whatever, if you have a whole series of these, I'm not quite sure, I'm sure they're going to keep making them, what the similarities are with the Darwin one is or not, but if you can kind of understand the concept of the game a little easier, and it's the same thing going forward, then you can get more out of the learning and less out of the learning the game part of it. So that's kind of a neat thing. Okay, now let's talk about a little bit about the mechanisms and stuff. This is where I feel like it is a fine game. I like playing it, it's fine, but there are some significant things that go against me as a gamer and the kind of things that I enjoy. And let's take a look at some of those. Number one, you have a significant amount of like randomness. Now you're constrained in a lot of the things you can do. You can only take 3 cubes and you can only keep 3 cubes. So it's very hard to hang on to things or build up and make some good moves later. It forces you to be pretty tactical. Now you would think to yourself, I'm going to build a engine to where you can use these experiments to flip these tiles over. So when you flip these tiles over, you'll be able to take one additional one. And I also point out here, how great like this is, because like the iconography makes it very easy to learn. I do want to mention this is a very easy game to learn, and everything being on the board and having stuff like this to make it easier for you. You know, you can take one extra. With these, you know, you can hang on to one extra, so it tells you exactly where they go and what you can use and all this stuff. So it's very easy to learn, and then and as you continue to play the game, there are reminders that are easy. So anyway, so you want to build up this engine of being able to hang on to more after the turn ends, and also to grab more. However, there's a couple of things. Now, whatever comes out of the dice tower is random. So you could get lucky and get a bunch of stuff, and you can get unlucky and not get a bunch of stuff. The other thing is, these flasks, you get one right at the beginning of the game, but they're all very different. So some of them like are way easier than others. Like getting one of these and switching it back doesn't seem as hard as getting a whole pile of them. Now in the beginning of the game, if you get like this, getting 4 uranium, you'd have to get that on your turn as well. You can only have about 3. So if you're unlucky enough in the beginning of the game to get this, well, it's going to be a lot harder for you to flip this over, meaning it's going to be harder for you to get the cubes that come out of the tower. The tower is a very interesting thing. I do love it, the way, some stuff comes out, some stuff doesn't, and then it's in there for the, future turns, you can see. So that's kind of a neat system. I like that, but I think the fact that, like on my first turn of the first game I played, the first turn I got nothing, the second turn I got like 1 cube, and, I can't build my engine up because I don't have that stuff, and then the other player is getting ahead of me, and it's getting easier for them to get ahead of me, and then I don't have as much. So, and it's kind of like this, and then these cubes, the same thing, So these are randomized, what you're going to get. You can't take one that you want. So some, as I say, are way easier than others, and some of them are easier in the beginning of the game, and some of them are easier towards the end of the game, or just as easy. And if you get the ones, if you get them in the wrong order, that can really hurt you to go forward, which is a real bummer. Now, added to that, that's maybe the tower is going to be good to you or bad to you. Okay, they have these theses, so if you don't draw something good out of the tower, you can take the thesis instead. However, the thesis's rewards are quite bad. When you first get it, you could get like a one of these guys, as we said, which helps you, but also at the same time, you don't know what you're going to get, and that doesn't help you build your engine, just gets you the opportunity to do so, or just one single cube. The rewards of these get better and better, which is nice, however, this is way inefficient compared to taking the cubes. If you built a good engine where you can grab up 3, it's just going to be an accelerated thing. You can also buy these cards, which is kind of helpful. Of course, they are also random the way they come out. So some of these goals, like if you want to get all 5 of these, like we just played a game, I had to get 5 of one card. But the time track moves along in a way that is quite difficult. Maybe I should have gone for one of the ones that has 4. However, there's less of them in the deck as well. My wife had to get all 5 of these for her bonus, but she was having a very hard time getting this. She managed to get it at the end of the game. Now that's kind of a little bit of randomness as well. The other thing is, it's the same thing with these goals, right? Like some of them are way easier to do. Like this one, you can get, if you do these 2, you get an extra victory point for doing these, but you still get the victory point for doing this as well. So you're getting like an extra victory point. So that's pretty good. Getting 4 of these gets you a victory point. And that's not that great. The games we played were like 10 and 9 or something like that, and 10 and 6 or something. So there aren't a lot of victory points, but it does seem like these little goals that you can get are a little bit random as well. So the last part of the planning thing is you can't really plan a lot because you're so constrained to what you can take and keep. And you might decide, hey, I would love to take advantage of some of these things. Everybody gets to do these things on the time track. However, there's moments when it will definitely move forward, so you can plan on that. But a lot of these cards and things will have something that moves the time on, or your flasks sometimes can move the. So you really, you can say, oh, on my turn I have a way to get a radium so when this comes up I'll get a victory point, and then somebody else moves that ahead, and now you're out of luck. So I think overall it's a very easy game to learn. It's the iconography and playing it is quite simple. It seems like there's a lot going on, but it's actually not that much going on. However, the constraint on what you can take and how much you can hold makes it very tactical. And also you can't really plan very well because the time will move along like pretty much, and for a lot of ways, out of your control. And then the beakers and the bonuses on all of this other stuff is is kind of random and some is better than others. And then if you're trying to build your engine, if you don't get a good draw out of the cube tower or anything, you can actually have a very bad time in the beginning, and then in which case you're just going to get outpaced very, very quickly. And that seems like a bit more random. So overall, like, I prefer a game when I can kind of see all my options and pursue things that I want to pursue. And tactical is fine. However, like, if you are going to be encouraged to build kind of an engine or whatever, I prefer not to be as tactical. And there's just a lot more areas of randomness than I generally like in a game. It does play pretty quickly. You can play in probably a 2-player game. It says like 40 minutes or something, so that sounds about right. I took a little longer on the playthrough on the channel because I was reading the entryways in the book, so there's that. But yeah, overall, lovely production, easy to learn, fairly quick to play, bit more tactical, very hard to plan, and a little more random elements in the game that I generally like. So, but yeah, what a great teachable game. I love this series. I love the concept of this. So hopefully those thoughts will help you to decide whether or not this game is for you or not. But for now, I gotta roll.